impersonation attacks, because they lead into tricking people into using their trusts and then clicking on the link or responding and so on. So impersonation attacks are by far the most impactful in terms of cost, and like 10 times more than ransomware, for example. And obviously, impersonation of brands is a major problem. How many toll booth phishing scams, and DHL or whoever getting impersonated. What's now becoming more problematic is that because of the AI capabilities, criminals can scale this type of impersonation attack and making extremely precise. I'll give you an example. So there was back in March, I think it was, there was the announcement of the tariffs, and immediately criminals jumped up with the usual, custom fee scams where you get a message with a fake invoice, say, hey, you didn't pay these custom fees. Now, historically, that invoice would be the same for how many hundreds of thousands of messages that the criminal were sending. But this time, each message had a dedicated invoice for the target victim that they were sending to. So if this was going after a photo equipment manufacturer, the content would be lenses. And the title was for their address. If this was for a manufacturing company doing, I don't know, aluminum parts, the invoice was about aluminum bars, and again the address was right. So this level of hyper customization of the fraud is totally new, at least at this scale, as we're talking 200,000-300,000 messages out there. And it's really the art of the criminal to do the trickery. And so the next step that we are seeing now is the implementation of reputation-based ransomware. So where the ransom is about, okay, if you don't pay, we're gonna disparage your brand, maybe with fake news, maybe with narrative influence. So we are seeing also these kind of techniques that were used by propaganda and nation state for influencing their population, now moving into criminal activities. Now, you mentioned ChatGPT, very interesting. Coming here in Black Hat, I was doing some research on GPTs, and for the first time, I saw in the results of the GPT coming up a fake website. So now we're seeing poisoning of the sources of the GPT to drive traffic into fake luxury bag shopping site or something like that. The search was, tell me where I can find for the lowest price a Birkin bag, especially on the likes of Taobao and AliExpress. And I got Google, I think it was Gemini or ChatGPT, I can't remember, coming up with all this research. And then in the sources, there was one fake website.
Wow.
So one that we had spotted.